Canada is great if you're a fan of poutine, hockey, Tim Hortons, geese, or snow. If you're a fan of roller coasters though, not so much. According to our THBD, there are only 25 coasters in Canada that are classified as either thrill or extreme coasters, and these are only spread among 6 parks across 5 provinces. For those who are unaware, there are 13 provinces and territories in Canada, and 8 of those don't have a singular thrill coaster. In fact, there are 7 provinces and territories that aren't home to a single coaster at all.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yeah, being an enthusiast here is pretty tough. With all that being said, Canada is too big and honestly too scarce in terms of coasters for it to make sense to do a Canadian coaster road trip. The point of this video, and these videos coming up, is to give other Canadian enthusiasts some ideas of different road trips through the states you can go on depending on where you live in the country. Before you plan a road trip, there are a few things that you need to consider. The first is what kind of trip you'll be doing. Depending on where you're from, it will make sense for your trip to be done in a loop or a straight line from A to B. A loop is where you start your road trip in one place, travel to all of your destinations, and are able to loop back around and finish where you started, only needing to rely on driving during the trip. A straight line road trip is a little bit more complicated. For this type of road trip, you will need to rent a car because your trip will involve you traveling from your starting point, visiting all of your destinations, and finishing at your furthest destination, then flying back to where you came from. This definitely isn't the most ideal way to do a road trip given how far north we are, but this is what we have to deal with. The cities I'll be focusing on starting your road trip from are Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, and Fredericton/St. John. The requirements for a city to be a starting point of a road trip are 1. Being close enough to the US border, so this rules out any cities in the Yukon, Northwest Territories, or none of it, as well as major cities like Saskatoon, Charlottetown, and St. John's, Newfoundland. Yeah, I know, we got a St. John and a St. John's, but at least there aren't 23 cities named Columbus. I'm talking to you, USA. Anyways, the second requirement is that you have to be close enough to a major amusement park. Even though Regina is close to the US border, the closest amusement parks, Silverwood, the Valley Fair, and the original Nickelodeon universe, are all over 11 hours away. If you don't live in one of the cities I mentioned, you can obviously still do a coaster road trip. It'll just take a bit more effort in terms of driving or flying. For this series, I will not be including Texas or Florida as part of any of the road trips, as they are both such large states and very far away from Canada that I would just suggest doing specific road trips for both of these states, especially for Florida since there are just so many parks on top of Disney that you could probably spend at least 2 weeks just in Florida, though you could probably include Atlanta and hit up Six Flags Over Georgia as well. For this video, let's start with the Pacific road trip. Now, it has been well documented before that the Pacific Northwest is the opposite of a coaster hotspot. However, there are a few parks that you can hit up on your way down the coast before you reach California, which is where most of the parks on this trip will be located. This trip will be starting either near Calgary or Vancouver. The only real difference is that if you're coming from Calgary, you can make your way down to Silverwood before heading west to Seattle. Calgary to Athol, Idaho, which is where Silverwood is located, is about a 7-hour drive. Some notable rides at Silverwood are Aftershock, a relocated Vekoma giant inverted boomerang, Corkscrew, the world's first modern inverting roller coaster, and Stunt Pilot, the newest RMC Raptor. From Athol to Seattle is roughly a 5-hour drive. If you are starting your trip near Vancouver, Seattle is only about 2.5 hours away. Seattle is home to Wild Waves with Wild Thing, an aerodynamics corkscrew model, and Timberhawk Ride of Prey, and S&S Woody, being the 2 standout attractions. It is also worth noting that if you happen to plan this road trip during September, you may be able to visit the Washington State Fair, which only runs during September 2nd to 25th. From Seattle, you would head down to Portland, just under 3 hours away. Portland is home to the Enchanted Forest and Oaks Park. Enchanted Forest is home to obscure rides like the Ice Mountain Bobsled. Oaks Park is best known for Adrenaline Peak, a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. The next 2 legs of the trip are the 2 longest, but also feature bigger scale chain amusement parks. Portland to San Francisco is about a 10-hour drive. There are 2 parks near San Francisco, with Six Flags Discovery Kingdom located 30 minutes north in Vallejo, California, and California's Great America located 45 minutes south in Santa Clara. Six Flags Discovery Kingdom is home to the Joker, an RMC hybrid conversion, and Medusa, a B&M floorless coaster. California's Great America is home to Gold Striker, a GCI Woody, and Railblazer, another RMC Raptor. The Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk and Gilroy Gardens are both located about 30 minutes south of Santa Clara, so you could stop by both parks early and pick up some credits before making the drive to Southern California. Los Angeles is about a 5.5-hour drive from Santa Clara. Now, the Los Angeles area is home to the most amusement parks during this trip, but for the sake of this video, I'll be skipping over the Disney parks and Universal because those could and probably should be a week-long trip on their own. Outside of Disney and Universal, LA is home to Six Flags Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm. Magic Mountain is home to coasters like X2, an Aerodynamics 4th Dimension coaster, Twisted Colossus, an RMC hybrid conversion, and Tatsu, a B&M flyer. Knott's is home to Accelerator, an Intamin accelerator coaster, Hang Time, a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster, and Ghost Rider, a CCI Woody. The final stop I would suggest is San Diego, which is home to SeaWorld San Diego, with such coasters like Emperor, a B&M dive coaster, and Electric Eel, a Premier Ride Skyrocket 2. From there, you can fly back home, though if you had some time to extend your trip, you could drive the 5.5 hours up to Vegas and head to the Adventure Dome, or try your luck to see if Desperado is actually open, though it's been standing but not operating for 3 years now. Then you could drive the 6 hours up to Farmington, Utah, and finish your trip with a visit to Lagoon and ride Cannibal, an in-house beyond vertical drop coaster, as well as Wicked, a zero tower launch coaster. This last leg of the trip isn't particularly necessary, but Cannibal seems like such an insane coaster that if you can fit in a trip to Lagoon, you should definitely check it out. That was my idea for a Pacific road trip for Canadian enthusiasts. Stay tuned for the rest of my coaster road trip idea videos, as we look at Northern USA next time. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. Also, follow me on Instagram at CanadianCoasterGP for more amusement park pictures, videos, and reels. Until next time, have a great day. Peace.